Hi, and welcome to another Ghost Detective program. And we're coming up to series 2 now. I just wanted to come on to you and tell you a little bit about series 2. And we are going to be going into a location. Now, because of the way I work, the stuff that I do, the studies and investigations I do, can last up to 2 to 3 years. So I can't go in and record an investigation as you would normally see, because of all the research and stuff that we have to do behind the scenes. The history researcher has to do her stuff, we do our stuff on the investigation, and then afterwards we try and marry it together. But I'll show you the location, I'll tell you what we're going to do, I'll introduce you to the members of the team, and we'll be putting out snippets. Between ghost stories, I will be telling you ghost stories, but between those, we'll be putting out snippets of the shows, giving you like half-an-hour bites of where we are, where we're up to on this investigation. So it'll be like a little series going, so you can follow us. I hope you like it. I'm looking forward to doing it, and I don't think it's been done that many times before, but yeah, let's see how far we can run this one. It's going to be good. Next time you see me, I will be on the location. We'll have 2 guests with us. That's never been done before, but we will have 2 guests with us. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So anyway, let's get on with the ghost story, because I know you like them. Okay, now this particular story is set way back in 1972. The lady who asked me to record her story for the book that I was writing at the time, she didn't want her proper name or the location identifying, so to protect her privacy, I'm going to call her Vicky, and I'm going to say that you know, location, I'm going to keep our secret, but yeah, this is the story. This is Vicky's story. Now, back in 1972, Vicky was a 12-year-old girl full of fun, doing what a normal 12-year-old girl would do, playing with her friends, listening to music, looking for fashion and stuff like that. And she was just bubbly and full of fun. But what added to her excitement of life, if you like, was the fact that she'd got a friend whose mum and dad owned a pub. Now, when you have a friend who owns their mum and dad own a pub, you know, it's going to get exciting when you have a stopover. And one particular weekend, Vicky was invited to stay over by her friend at this pub. Now, this pub is 300 years old, and at the time, Vicky had no real sense of thinking about ghosts and spirits. Well, you wouldn't at 12 years old, you know. She just wanted to have fun with her friends. And when she was invited, she arrived on the Saturday, and the pub was already buzzing. You know, there was people coming and going, conversations, and during the evening they got live music on, and place was buzzing, you know. And these 2 girls, Vicky and her friend, were excited. They were buzzing too, and they didn't go to bed until quite late, let's put it that way. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, they were still awake. They were sitting up in bed chatting to each other, and Vicky's friend said, I've got an idea. And she said, really? And she said, yeah, let's go and have a picnic. Vicky thought for a minute, and she thought, hang on a minute, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, what are we going to do? And she said, well, let's go down into the bar and we'll get the crisps out, we'll get the pop out, get some peanuts, just sit on the floor and have a bit of a picnic. What do you say? And yeah, Vicky thought, yeah, I'm up for this. Yeah, let's go down and have some fun. So they crept downstairs. Crisps, bottles of pop, all came out, you know, all spread around them. They were giggling and laughing and that, trying to keep as quiet as they could, because they didn't want to wake anybody up to let them know that they were down there. And while they were doing this and having a bit of fun, they realised that the door to the kitchen, which was just off to one side, was open. And the pub dog was sat bolt upright, staring at the wall and whimpering. It started whimpering. and the whimpering started getting louder. Now, the two girls knew that if this got really loud, they were going to get found out, and they'd be found with all this stuff all around, the crisps, pop and peanuts. And they thought, well, we've got to keep this dog quiet. It's no good shutting the door because it's still going to make the sound. So they thought, I know, we'll feed it peanuts or crisps. So they got a bag of crisps in the end, and they took it through to the dog, and they tried to feed this dog crisps. It was having none of it. Was having none of it. It was just staring up at its wall. It was just fixed on a particular area on the wall. Nothing they did would stop it from whining. And they were just looking at this dog and looking up at the wall. And then Vicky realised that her friend had stopped talking, unusually, and she'd got very quiet. And Vicky looked across to her, and her friend was staring at the wall like the dog. And Vicky thought, well, she looks very strange. She was almost in a trance. Next thing we know that Vicky knew was her friend got up, walked over to the wall. Vicky at the same time got up to find out what her friend was doing, and her friend picked off the wall, took down from the wall a 12-bore shotgun which was hanging there. She turned round and pointed it at Vicky. At that point, Vicky knew there's something was seriously wrong from the look on her friend's face. Vicky grabbed the barrel, pushed it to one side. As she did so, there was a loud bang. Smoke everywhere. This loud bang woke Vicky's friend up. She dropped the gun immediately, and both girls just hugged each other, crying. And Vicky's friend said, I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. And they just hugged each other for a while until they stopped crying, they calmed down. And then it struck Vicky that nobody was downstairs. Nobody came down. So that was strange. And they looked down, and the dog was asleep. It was fast asleep on the floor. Now this is just after a 12-bore shotgun had gone off. They're not small guns. Now they sat and chatted about this for a little while, and then Vicky's friend wanted the loo, so she went off to the loo, and Vicky sort of stood there thinking to herself, trying to work out exactly what had happened. And then she realised that the dog was sitting bolt upright again, looking back at this wall. And they thought, hang on a minute. You know, Vicky thought, well, the gun's on the floor, but I'll hang it back up anyway. Not a smart move. But she hung it back on the wall, and the dog was whining again. Now Vicky suddenly realised, hang on a minute, I'm on my own. My friend's in the toilet, I'm in this room on my own with this dog, and there's a gun on the wall. She said to herself, I've got to get out of here. So she bolted for the door towards the bar. She bolted towards the bar. The door slammed shut in front of her. In a panic, she grabbed the handle and tried to pull the door open. However hard she pulled, she couldn't open the door. Getting hysterically frightened, she rushed into the loos where a friend was, banging on the door to get her friend to come out and help her. Her friend eventually did come out, and they both rushed over to the door. She saw what was going on as well. They both rushed over to the door. A mighty heave, but to their surprise, the door came open quite easily. And when the door came open, the dog stopped whimpering. They looked round, and the dog was asleep. I thought, well, had enough of this. So they decided, let's just clear up what we put out on the floor and just go off to bed. And they still couldn't understand why nobody was downstairs. This was a loud commotion that had been going on. So anyway, they cleared up, went off upstairs, and there they sat in bed and watched the daylight come on the Sunday morning. The sun rose, and the next thing they could hear people's voices, and then they got a smell of bacon breakfast cooking, and they thought, nobody's come up to tell us off. You know, 12-ball shotgun going off makes a mess. And they couldn't understand it. Anyway, they were called down for breakfast, and they thought, this is it. This is where we're going to get it. They went down to breakfast, nobody said a word. And there was no damage. There was nothing broken, there was nothing out of place. Nothing. It was as if nothing had happened. They looked at each other, and they made a pact that they would tell nobody about this. Now, there are some questions that arise from this ghost story. First one is, who loaded the gun? Gun wouldn't be loaded on the wall, it would be decommissioned anyway. Where was the damage from the shot? What happened to that? And why did nobody hear it in the pub? Something for you to ponder. So until next time, my friends, sleep well. Bye.